I'm a little nervous. I don't even know how to talk to chicks now that I'm single. Like I haven't flirted or spoken to anybody in like 4 years, bro. Like I don't have any game right now. I think I would personally love to, maybe we can, so, yeah.
Syngin is back in the dating game, and if that encounter is anything to go by, he definitely needs some practice.
This is all very new to me. I haven't dated or even looked at anybody in 3.5 years. But what's the next step for moving on with my life?
So in this episode, we join the newly single Syngin as he goes on a road trip to Arizona.
It feels really crazy to be moving to Arizona. When I get there, I'm going to be staying with my South African friend, Aaron, and his wife. They were kind enough to give me a place to stay.
If you haven't seen the heartbreaking separation and his final goodbyes from Tania, I'll include a link to that video for you to catch up in the description below. The separation was clearly very painful, and we start this episode with him reflecting on how he's feeling and why he needs to move on.
I almost feel like swinging back around the block and going to say goodbye again, but I know that going forward right now is the best option for both of us,
So, having made up his mind not to turn back, Syngin now has a very long road trip ahead of him.
Going to Arizona is no short task. It says if I drive there straight, it'll take me a day and a half, but I'm gonna make a road trip out of it. I'm an adventurous person and a lot has happened, and I think this would be a great processing time for me.
And so, eager for some alone time and some reflection, we see a montage of Syngin taking a 10-day road trip around the states, with lots of camping, trips to Nashville, Arkansas, Oklahoma, Texas, even the Grand Canyon, before finally arriving in Arizona. And all of this alone time has been great for his mental well-being.
Setting up here is very healing. I truly do feel that your spirit becomes one with the mountains and Mother Nature, and you feel the energies around you, and that really uplifts your soul, and it's truly something that I needed, so onwards and upwards.
As for what he plans to do in Arizona, well, that's not yet clear, and Syngin being Syngin, he's very open to just going with the flow and seeing what the universe has in store for him.
The prospect of whatever the universe is going to throw my way, I just got to be true to my path, but I'm scared and excited, but it's time.
And from what he says, you feel like the split from Tania has really helped him to find himself again, almost as though he's had a weight lifted off his shoulders.
For the last few years, I've just been trying to give my best towards a relationship that I lost a lot of my individuality. So it's time to start my life over.
Now, Syngin and his friend Aaron know each other from back home in South Africa, and Aaron's of the opinion that Syngin is much better suited to life in Arizona than he was to life in Connecticut.
I'm very excited that Syngin has moved here. I think it is a lot more laid back than up north. Obviously the South African culture is also very laid back, so I think it'd fit in perfectly here.
And so, over a few shots of whiskey, Aaron quizzes Syngin on where exactly he stands with Tania, and he reveals that while they have been in touch over the course of his road trip, in his mind that chapter is now well and truly finished and he's ready to move on.
So we kind of talked a little bit, which felt really strange.
As long as you know it's done and you can still move forward.
No, 100%, bro. That's what this whole road trip was for me. Also literally letting go of the possibility of ever being back together.
So, following on from that revelation, Aaron asks Syngin if he'd like to join him and his wife on a night out where there might be some new ladies for Syngin to meet. But as ready as he is, Syngin seems a bit terrified of putting himself back out there and meeting new people.
Tonight we're actually going out.
Okay.
Would love you to join us.
Yes.
You'll definitely be meeting some ladies.
Oh shit, bro, that makes me extremely nervous.
And the reason why that makes him so nervous is, he says, having been in a relationship with Tania for 4 years, he feels out of practice. He doesn't have the same ability and confidence to speak to women as he once did.
I'm a little nervous. I don't even know how to talk to chicks now that I'm single. Like I haven't flirted or spoken to anybody in like 4 years, bro. Like I don't have any game right now. I think this is all very new to me. I haven't dated or even looked at anybody in 3.5 years. It's a little bit scary, but I need to start my new life.
Which leads us to later on that evening. We join Aaron, his wife and Syngin as they make their way to a bar. They introduce Syngin to their friends, who, by the way, all look considerably younger than 31-year-old Syngin. But keen to have a good time, Syngin gets chatting to everyone and he very much likes what he sees.
Coming here tonight, I see a couple of good-looking ladies. There's a lot of sexy blondes around. And of course, it's very warm here, so nobody really wears too much.
As Syngin's talking to the group, one lady in particular, Kira, seems very interested and engaged in the conversation. She asks a lot of questions and Syngin can't help but notice that perhaps there might be a little spark there. So he and Kira separate from the group and begin having their own conversation.
At the bar and I've been talking to everybody, this girl Kira, beautiful blonde lady, is showing me some tension. I was like, hey, you talking to me? Let's have a chat.
And look, he must really like what he sees because having been in Arizona for the grand total of maybe a few hours, if that, he's already decided that Arizona is going to be his home.
For how long do you plan on staying here?
I'm probably going to make Arizona my home. I'm definitely going to do that, yeah. I really have a really good feeling about this place.
That's awesome.
And Kira seems to really like that impulsive side of him.
You trust your intuition a lot with things like that?
My whole life I go about my intuition, when everything feels crazy or it feels not right. You got to listen to that.
100%.
While the conversation initially started quite well, with Kira asking most of the questions. Questions like, so you come from South Africa, how are you finding Phoenix so far? The problem is, after those initial pleasantries, the conversation starts to feel a bit strained, like it's not really going anywhere. And Syngin admits,
I don't think I have much game. I don't quite know, do I tell her she's super cute? I don't know, I'm just winging it right now.
When Syngin tells Kira that he used to run around barefooted in South Africa and go to school with no shoes on, she tells him that she'd really like to do what he's doing. See other parts of the world, go beyond where you're born.
I kind of want to almost do what you're doing at some point. Go to a different country.
Yeah.
So.
And that, to Syngin, seems to be a connection, which leads to him awkwardly asking,
yeah, good conversation, and I feel we're connecting.
Yeah.
But feels a little weird. Are you seeing anybody right now, or you?
No, I'm just kind of I'm still in school, so I'm just kind of going with the flow.
And it's funny and entertaining to watch Syngin get so caught up in that he becomes all tongue-tied and practically loses the ability to speak English.
So, yeah. I would personally love to, maybe we can,
Continue this? Yeah.
Yes.
I haven't really seen enough of Kira yet to judge her or form an opinion on her, but so far she seems nice enough. She seems like a nice, friendly lady, and she's open to the idea of going out for a bite to eat and grabbing dinner with Syngin, so they make plans to meet up the next evening.
Yes, yes. Maybe tomorrow we can have dinner.
Yeah. Yes.
That.
100%. Yeah, for sure.
When the producers ask her, what exactly is it that you see in Syngin, she replies by saying,
Syngin really interests me because he's a very down-to-earth and adventurous person. He's excited for new experiences, and so I'm just really excited to be around someone that can open my eyes.
And Syngin seems delighted by this. In fact, he goes as far as to compare Kira to Tania and says,
Kira, it's a breath of fresh air. It's definitely not something I was used to with Tania and so on, always challenging my ideals. She was like, yo, your way of thinking is f***ing correct. And I was like, hell yeah.
Whoa, calm down Syngin, hold your horses. I don't think you know her well enough to compare her to the ex that you were with for 4 years. The one that only last episode you were crying and debating whether or not you should split up, telling the world how much you still deeply loved her. I get that he's happy to be moving on. It just seems like he's very, very impulsive. But then again, that's not really a surprise, is it? So we end the episode with them arranging to meet up for dinner the next day. And I very much look forward to seeing how this progresses.
Cheers to you. New beginnings.
New beginnings.
Now, if you haven't yet seen my update video from the last episode where Syngin and Tania are both crying and telling each other how much they love each other, then I'll leave that on screen for you to check out next. And if you've made it this far to the end of the video, show your support by hitting that like button, and if you haven't already, please consider subscribing for lots more 90 Day Fiancé videos. Thanks for watching. I'll catch you on the next video.